Hello again, friends. I'm going to have to start editing a little bit because there are little glitches that happen, and you don't need to hear me clearing my throat and coughing and things like that. Things that normal people would edit out. Yes, I know how to use software, and I can learn how to use software. So I have a vlogger program, which I provided a link to in an earlier video. But anyway, hmm, let's see. Why am I here? What do I want to talk to you about? This is about what's in it for you. What is it? Well, it is watching my videos. I'm saying please like, please subscribe. Is anybody watching? If you're not watching, what would tease you into watching? What would give you a motivation to watch? Well, I'm going to tell you what's in it for you. Now, I'm not here just to be entertaining, you know, and maybe I'm not entertaining. Maybe I'm really boring. I don't want to be really boring, but I do want to, well, give you some food for thought. This is a serious channel, friends. Um, so what's in it for you? Well, it's my university, kind of very informal. It's a very informal course in the future for particular aspects of the future. It's a course in preparing for the future, not preparing for the collapse of civilization and buying a basement full or a bedroom full or a garage full of survival food. There are people that talk about, prepping in various ways. And a lot of them are doom and gloomy, and we're going to have a nuclear war and all that kind of thing. And, I'm not here to discuss that with you. You can go find that, and there are preppers, people giving prepping advice. I've watched some of their videos, okay, who have a nice viewership and plenty of likes and subscriptions and so on. Well, why not me with my positive, optimistic message about the future? Now, I know that some of my friends have been with me for a while, and we were in, let's just say, awareness of problems and danger mode. And it was a real struggle to be solution oriented, which we did try to be, because it seemed like the problems were overwhelming. And by the way, the world situation hasn't changed much. Um, we still have serious problems, of course. Incipient war going on in some places. Um, bad people appearing to be in control, although maybe that's changing. It depends on what you believe about the results of the last election in the United States. Is Trump really intent on taking out the deep state, or is that a deception so that, the American people, well, think about it this way. And a few months ago, I would have said this was exactly what was going on. So we've been on a rubber band of sorts, right? And we get pulled to the left until there's a lot of tension there, and then the hand that's holding us there lets go, and everything springs back to the right. And then that gets oppressive and problematic, and the hand lets go and it springs back to the left. Now, I saw this happen in Canada because I had a close friend who was Canadian, and they had Stephen Harper, very right-wing prime minister, and he was a disaster to many Canadians. And so they voted in Justin Trudeau. let's see, oh, it says my left. Okay. So, um, yeah, I was doing this thing and saying this was left and this was right, which is backwards. I don't know how it's going to appear to you, honestly. I haven't tracked that. It hasn't been important which side shows up as my right. Hello, this is my right. And which side shows up as my left until right now. But anyway, so now Justin Trudeau's in power, and that has also been a disaster for Canada. I don't think many people would disagree with him. So, has the same thing been going on in the United States? Well, maybe it has. Probably it has for quite a long time. And that's part of the problem when you have only two major parties. At least Canada has three or something. I don't know. Maybe it's two major ones and a minor one or something like that. I don't really know that much about Canadian politics, in spite of what I just said a minute ago. But at least I was aware of the shenanigans and perceptions, let's say, of Stephen Harper and then Justin Trudeau. um, so lived through it, lived to tell about it, even though I was sitting across the border most of the time. Um, so Trump has said a lot of good things. When you look at his actions, they're a little bit less definitive, perhaps. One wonders why he has tapped certain people for appointments to his administration, and so on and so forth. I'm not here to try to dissect that. Um, the Galactic Federation of Worlds says he's working with them, and Elon Musk is working with them. I've had friends that were so against Trump and or Musk that they couldn't say a good thing about, let's say, Elon Musk, couldn't say a good thing about Musk. And it got to the point because I was communicating daily with this person, and I got such a barrage and overwhelming um, bitching, basically, about Musk and what he was supposedly doing and the agendas that he is supposedly supporting that, I just didn't want to hear it anymore. And I had to build a wall between myself and that person. I won't say cut ties, not permanently, not necessarily. Well, I'd have cut ties completely, but I don't know. I don't know. Eventually I'll ping that person and say, hi, how you doing? Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do for you? But, not to converse with that person every day unless their tune has changed. But that doesn't mean I think Elon Musk is perfect. It doesn't mean I think Trump is perfect. They might be evil trying to appear good, and they might be better than you think they are because a lot of trash talk, even that doesn't look like trash talk, has been uttered about them. And you don't know who or what to believe unless you or I knew Donald Trump personally and had known him for years. We would not really know what kind of person he is. What all we know is the public persona with its scintillating jewel-like aspects and its kind of cruddy, vulgar, gross aspects. I mean, if you want to see things that way, right? I mean, I understand, I get it, okay? And everybody's a mixed bag. Honestly, I'm a mixed bag. You're a mixed bag, as much as I may love you or not. But here's the question, put somebody in a position of power and what are they really going to do or what, and it's not just a matter of who they are and what they want, what they would prefer. There's a dark side, a side that opposes them, let's say. Let's just call it a side that opposes them and what they want to do, that's going to use every trick in the book to try to prevent them from succeeding. So, what I've said about Trump is I've been primed, in a sense, to have a positive perception overall of Donald Trump and Elon Musk and certain others. I really like Tulsi Gabbard. That's just my opinion. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The names don't matter. Personas don't matter. But people in the incoming administration. And I'd like to think well of them. And I'd like to think that we can expect them to do good things for America and the world over the next 4 years. And even better, it would be even better if somebody gets elected next time around that will build upon what they've done. What does that imply? This, by the way, this is not what I came here to talk about. Not about politics at all. But it's came up, okay? It arose in my mind, in my psyche, and so I'm talking about it. But I will get back to, I promise, what's in this for you, regardless of my opinions and regardless of my thoughts about all this. Because it can be a community that you can be a part of and you can have a voice in it. And you don't always have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me at all. And I guess if you don't agree with me at all, you won't be a part of the community, but that's okay too. Um, I will persist until I find people who want to listen to what I have to say. That's just how that goes. Um, anyway, back to the issue or the point of me being primed with a positive opinion and positive expectations about what's going to happen. Well, of course, we will see what happens. We might end up, after all, being on finding some prepper channel to be our best friend, right? And I could be wrong in my positive expectations of the near future. The Galactic Federation could be, showing up as loving, showing up as caring, showing up as good people, and the others along with them, meaning Prince Ea of the Anunnaki or the Anak Empire and the Intergalactic Confederation. So these are evidently real people and organizations. Humor me if you don't think so. All right, but to me, I believe they're real. Okay, so they're out there in space, and they're communicating through Elena Danan and other contactees. And by the way, there are other groups of ETs who are aligned with them who are also communicating through their contactees, like Alex Collier, not Alice, Alex. Sorry about that, Alex. Anyway, as an example, and people like James Gilliland, Peter Maxwell Slattery, who are entertaining lots of different ETs and angelic beings and so forth and so on, right? And not focused on a particular organization or group of organizations. Well, what effect does that have? It's not really confusing the issue. They're not all saying radically different things. They're providing different perspectives that corroborate, generally speaking, and on the whole, strongly corroborate one another. Nobody's out there um, directly verbally attacking the Galactic Federation of Worlds that I know of. And if the universe was a dark forest, a la the three body problem, we'd already be clobbered. And so I don't think that's what's going on. I think there are a lot of people out there that love us and want to help us. My sense of Elena, Danny Henderson, Dr. Michael Sala, Jean-Charles Moyen and his wife, Melanie Charest, um, and various others, Tony Rodriguez, Jerry Wills, Alex Collier. I'm personally acquainted with Jerry Wills, at least a little bit. I spent a little time talking with him once upon a time. So my sense of all these people is very positive. I can say I love them, or I like them very much, or I feel like they're my friends and family. And um, so maybe I'm being taken in, but then if that's true, I believe they've been taken in. And I don't think that's very likely. I really don't, especially Elena. Is she a mature individual with a really good sense of who her friends are and who her enemies are and whether a person has good intentions or not, especially if she's interacted with them over a long period of time? Yes, I think so. I tend to trust her opinion of other people. So other people in this case would be Princia, Korhan Eredian, uh, and various others. You can go to her website and look at her list of interstellar contacts. And all those people um, in that list are good folks. Now, some of them have relatives who are problematic, like Ia, his half brother in Lil Bad News. One of his sons, Marduk, turned to the dark side. His other son, Issa, did not. So the story goes. Now, Issa, has been passed down to us in the cloak of a religious figure as Jesus Christ. Okay, well, while you're digesting that, or not, um, depending on your prior biases. But it seems like that's a challenging one, whether somebody is Christian or anti-Christian. Anyway, anyway, there are a lot of good people, right? Or people presenting as good, and it's hard to find a reason to doubt them. So anyway, these people are saying, hey, Trump and Musk and certain others are working with us. And I've heard it alleged that Tulsi Gabbard is aware also and working with the good side. So, we'll see. Um, aware of the ETs, I should say. And there were various rumors about certain people, or in the scenario, in the big picture of the Trump administration, actually being ETs. I'm not going to talk about that here, but it might come out at various times and places. And if you watch Elena's videos and certain other videos on the internet, or I should say videos featuring Elena, well, you might hear about such things. But anyway, what's in it for you, friends, if you're part of this community that I'm trying to create, that I will create? Because as I said, I'll persist until I get some people joining me and helping me co-create it. I want you. All right, I don't know, maybe not you, but if you're willing, if you're so disposed, join me and help me. Don't let me do this all by myself. Don't let me sit here and do monologues and nothing but monologues until eternity. Let's have a discussion. But, I wrote something and I wrote it on Facebook and then I wrote it in the description of the last video that I uploaded. So I'm going to look it up here and read it to you. Yeah, I'm going to go to Facebook. This is unscripted, friends. So, that's why it wasn't right there waiting for me when I thought to review it. But anyway, I said here, given that the new golden age is not a set of benefits that will simply be handed to us without requiring any effort on our part, I intend to place appropriate focus on translating information into actions that will nurture both the individual and the collective, which is to say, global civilization and the human social order. This has been referred to, this activity has been referred to as, quote, co-creating the new earth, end quote. Now, I did a remote viewing session, the second one I ever did. And it was unconventional in that I said, I am going to remote view this. And it was about something I would be doing in the future. What would I become known for? What would I be successful at? You know, and it would give me financial benefits, but it would also be aligned with my values and give me broad spectrum benefits. And this is for me, you know, like how can I um, do something meaningful with my life? But also, what's meaningful, you know, well, what's meaningful is to help others. So how can I help others? How can I help others? And and I think this was my most successful remote viewing session so far. I won't go into exactly how I did it, but it was unconventional. But I seemed to be pulling information that I wasn't making up, right? It was like looking into the future and seeing what am I going to do and how is it going to benefit me and others. And it was about doing something exactly like what I just read, translating information into actions that will nurture both the individual and the collective, which is to say, global civilization and the human social order. And it was about a community, but it was not just a virtual community. It was people being inspired to get together and do things and build things and develop develop, well, you could call them social experiments in a sense, but really soundly based, innovative ways of living. Or will I achieve, I'm 71 years old, or I will be in a few days. So will I achieve that before I pass off the scene? Well, who knows? There are a lot of things that could happen. I could live to be 120, or I could live to be 72 or something, you know, who knows? But I could live to be 500 too, you know, because medical technology is going to explode through the roof in the next few years and decades. And we may join our cosmic cousins out there who are as fully human as we are, but they live 500, 800 years. Well, I'm pulling those numbers out of the air, but let's just say they live hundreds of years. We have stem cell treatments that can roll a person's age back effectively by 20 or more years. There are holographic med beds. Let's say holographic. Well, you know, just humor me on that term. You know, I kind of know what I mean, but I don't want to take the time to explain it. But anyway, they can effectively roll a person's age back and restore his youth, rejuvenate him or her. And there are other means. There are many other means. And we could become possibly like the Anunnaki and grow cloned bodies and transfer our consciousness into them. So there could be a 20-year-old body waiting for me when I'm 90. Who knows? It's possible. Or even a 12-year-old body, you know. And I would not necessarily have to go through the interruption of death and rebirth, you know. Um, there are really there are many other possibilities, and I'm not going to go into them. It's digressing. But you know, and I'm not special, so it could happen to you too. Deep breath, sigh, sort of a sigh, not a negative sigh, but just like, okay, reset. So yeah, I want to go in that direction. Will you help me? Can I inspire you? Can I infuse or help infuse another human with interest, with motivation, with belief, faith, brother, sister, faith, but not baseless, groundless, blind faith. No, not at all. Not at all. I've taken in a great deal of knowledge in a short time, and it has implanted in me a belief based on evidence that is not only based on facts, but it feels so right to me. It's as if I lived to be this age so that I could experience this, so that I could finally find myself, big number one, right? And the information that clicks, the information that makes sense, and that I want to be true, I admit it, right? But I may not, it's not that I want it to be true in the sense that I could have written a utopian sci-fi novel and it would have said that all of the things I've been learning would be true. No, there have been some things that I was initially disinclined to believe, and there are some aspects of it that I believe because somebody said so, and it's somebody I trust. It's not what I would have figured out on my own. It's not what I had accepted previously. Not that that was entirely figured out on my own. I was influenced by a particular teacher for the last 10 years, and that person has his biases, for better or worse. You know, I think some of them are for better and some for worse. But anyway, I was heavily influenced by that, and I sang pretty much the same tune as the rest of the community of his students. But there's a selection process. There was a selection process that went into following that man. Following, well, that means a number of different things. It means like being interested in his work, being influenced by his work, making common cause with him. Um, doesn't mean being an abject follower, worshiper, anything like that. Some people might be. I wasn't. Um, maybe I followed him too much. I don't know. You know, it's not, this is not the issue, right? So now I'm following something different. Well, I didn't make this all up on my own. It takes a certain kind of person to make up a lot of stuff and then have the confidence to believe your own stuff and to convince others of it. Now, none of that means that your stuff is true, by the way. Okay, so I'm not here presenting much of my own stuff, except in the sense that what I'm learning and what I'm presenting is being filtered through a lot of prior knowledge, um, and prior experience. And so what? I've been a generic Christian, I've been a Jehovah's Witness, I've been an agnostic, I was a member of Ashiana Dean's UFO cult, Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order, for 4 years. I was an agnostic again for a long time. I got interested in John Lamb Lash's work and have been a student of his for about 10 years. So these are all somewhat different types of paradigms, aren't they? And let me not forget, I was a druid too, sort of self-identified as a neo-pagan for several years. I don't remember how many. Let's see, from about 2002 to 2004. So only about 2 years, but that was a pretty happy journey. And I have a lot of respect for the Druids, especially the Obod, Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids type of Druid. And that is the order in which Elena, the nun, was initiated. I was initiated as a bard. You get initiated as a bard, and then an ovate, and then a druid. And she went all the way and became a druid, which I did not. It's conceivable that I might revisit druidry. There's a course you can take, and you do get initiated as a druid eventually if you take the course. You can associate with a grove, or you could be a solitary practitioner. They don't care, as far as I understand. So, oh, by the way, I think druidry is, even though it's neo-pagan, it's not necessarily incompatible with Christianity. One could be initiated as a druid while also being a Christian. Um, but I don't want to delve into that. I don't even want to verify it. I mean, I think it's true. A lot of Christians would probably disagree, and a lot of Druids would probably disagree. But I believe there are some people out there who, Christians, maybe even Christian ministers, and they also got initiated as Druids, or they started out as neo-pagan Druids and they got the Jesus bug, so to speak, and also got baptized as Christians. It's possible. So anyway, I don't anticipate becoming a Christian, but I mean I have to take that information about Issa that I mentioned a little while ago on board and process that and figure out what I think that means. So it's okay. I'm in the middle of a growth spurt. Maybe you'd like to grow with me, alongside me at your own speed and in your own way. And as I said, we don't have to agree on everything. But what I do know that's highly motivating to me is ET stuff. Let's call it ET stuff with a big quotes around it, big quotation marks. ET stuff. ET stuff is real. ET stuff is out there and it's here. And it's very much here in areas that the ordinary person, a member of the public, so to speak, doesn't know much about. We vaguely know that there's some clandestine technology that's way ahead of what we know of, right? But I also am on board with the idea that the deep state, the power of the deep state is waning. And the situation that I've watched go from bad to worse throughout my life until now, which is their control over society and human development, it's just going to go away, okay? Bad things are going to happen to them because of what they've done. That's unavoidable. But a great new freedom is ours. Let's grasp it. Let's, you know, not let go of it. The deep state, the cabal, the Illuminati, the international JEWS, if you want to go there, whatever you want to call them, the banksters, the Khazarian mafia. There are all these terms that people use, you know, but whoever they are, and they're not all of one ethnic group or religion or anything like that. But anyway, whoever they are, the controllers, yeah, they're losing control. They're not going to be in control much longer. Who's going to take control? Oh, well, some good guys like Trump and Musk and Tulsi Gabbard and so on and so forth. Well, if that's true, great. But how can you and I get involved? How can we make our voices heard? How can we build a life of our own personal dreams? And of course, that's not just a narcissistic, solipsistic, it's all about me kind of thing. We need to get together. We need to have a meeting of the minds and an opening of hearts toward one another. And that's the only way we can do something. And all I'm here to do is say, It's time, and it's past time. It's past time. So we have to start talking. We have to engage. If we don't, we could miss incredible opportunities. And I don't want to do that. And if you who are listening to this don't want to do that, because I'm absolutely passionate about it, I'm going to find people that do want to do it. And you, my friend, you'll still be my friend, but you'll be, you know, at the periphery of the circle instead of in the middle with me, because that's the way it is. If somebody's really passionate about something and they're going to go for it and they're going to make the best of it to the best of their ability, they're going to want to associate with other people who have the same attitude, primarily, right? They'll still keep trying to, make opportunities available to others. But if they don't want it, it's fine. We can't twist somebody's arm to do anything. Anything. Did you like the way I said that? I don't know. Anything, any particular thing. Hmm. Now you might feel there's not much I can do. There's not much I can do. It starts everything starts by thinking and feeling and then by talking. And then beyond talking, we can go into doing, right? And we may not know what we need to do or what we want to do, but we'll find out by talking. So come talk with me. So, having said a whole lot more about this than I originally intended, but I'm not sorry. And I will post this video as is because this is super, super important stuff, my friends. It's one thing for me to say, well, I'm going to tell people about stuff. I'm going to be an evangelist. Well, that's fine, you know, but unless you're part of my faith already, so that I am preaching to the choir, you're probably not going to come here to get religion. And I'm using these terms metaphorically. I'm probably not starting a church. I've been thinking about it. But if it does get started, it'll be very unconventional. It's not going to look like a typical church. But that's a matter for another time and for discussion with others. Um, it really absolutely does not have to be a church. I'd rather think of it as a university with, where the courses will develop arms and legs, which is to say there will be practicums attached to the courses. And so people who participate in the courses will then go out into the world and create positive change. How about that? Does that sound like a good idea to you? Well, help me build this if it does. Okay? So I will cease right about now because I think I've said enough and I don't want to say too much and thereby muddy the waters. After I talked about politics a little bit, we ended up being very focused, and what I had to say was very pointed, and that's good. It's also very loving, caring, with the best of intentions, and it's an invitation, and it's an extension of an opportunity. You can get in on the ground floor or not. It's all up to you. Is there a ground floor? Or is that just a figment of my imagination? Well, I intend to persist with this YouTube channel. And there are YouTube channels that started with one member, two members, four or five members, and ended up with lots, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. The sky's the limit, you know. And if only a handful of people want to join right now, that's fine. I always think of Christianity, the story is that Jesus had 12 disciples. And so from 13 people grew millions and millions and millions given enough time and enough bloody conquest. Oh, I'm sorry, preaching combined with bloody conquest. But we're not going to be engaged in bloody conquest. No worries about that. That's not part of the agenda. Okay. Now I've spoken freely, and we'll see if YouTube tries to censor me. If they do, I'll have to re-record this. But I said not. No, no bloody conquest. Nothing like that. That's my intention. Farthest thing from my mind, actually, and it was like a joke that that comparison came to mind, but it is part of the history of many religions, including Christianity. And that's just a fact. So, okay. Uh, I'm done, friends. So you'll see me and hear me again later. But um, yeah, you stick a fork in me because I'm done. I've heard that metaphor before. Bye for now. If the end button will actually work.